not a good day to be state regime media, which calls itself Fox News. So first, earlier in the day, you had state regime media say, look, if you don't want to do another protein like beef, the price is still up. It's about 5 times the price it was last year. So just keep that in mind. You probably want to stick to turkey because the price of beef is just way too high. They have to admit that Trump is just destroying the economy in the country right now. Here, play this clip.
Now remember, if you do want to do another protein like beef, the price is still up. It's about, I believe, 5 times the price that it was last year. So just keep that in mind. Maybe you're hitting the grocery store this weekend. Turkey is probably your best bet. Just stick to the one. I'll send it back to you guys.
You know what I'm going to say? Tofurkey.
Ugh.
There we go, Kelly.
By the way, this reminds me of the clip that I showed you earlier this week where the Fox guest talked about saving money for the holidays by basically saying, look, adults don't need gifts anymore. Just focus on people who are aged 3 to 18, okay? That's what we got to do. Don't need to give grandma any presents in Trump's America. Here, play this clip.
Budget, budget, budget. You need a plan. Also remember, adults don't need gifts, okay? Focus on the people in your life who are age 3 to 18. Grandma doesn't need slippers. If they don't live by you, don't get them a gift. Now's not the time to spend and break the bank sending packages across the country, Dana. Focus on the people in your life, ages 3 to 18.
Now, then that brings us to the meeting in the Oval Office between New York City Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani and Donald Trump. So as soon as the meeting ended, Fox didn't know how to deal with it. So you had Brian Kilmeade calling it a love fest. Here, play this clip.
This was a love fest. It's a respect fest.
I watched CNN and MSNBC after the press conference. They did not know what to do with this. They expected confrontation. They expected that this would not be a kumbaya moment, but Donald Trump understands the stage at that point. So he's going to give Mamdani a chance. And if he fails, then I'm sure the criticism will come. But in the meantime, he acted the way a president should. Respect somebody who just won an election that no one saw coming 5-6 months ago. We never even heard of Mamdani, and now he's the next mayor.
And then Kilmeade also said what we just watched probably made J.D. Vance so jealous. Here, play this clip.
There you go, live from Washington, D.C. That's what we just watched. Now I'm in New York City. We were watching that press conference. I think J.D. Vance is jealous. I think the president wants to use him as a running mate. They really got along fantastic. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. Lucky enough to fill in for Will Kane. You just saw it, President Trump and New York City Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani.
What's funny is that earlier in the day, the Fox Chyrons and all of their graphics package was showdown with socialism. Donald Trump's absolutely going to own and destroy Mamdani. You're going to see Donald Trump is going to crush the guy in the Oval Office. And then once it ended, let me show you what went down. Here's what Laura Ingraham had to say about it. Let's play this clip.
He thinks he'll do a great job. Well, that's a head-spinning comment. But he found areas they can work on together. And I think today demonstrates again that the media and most on the Hill, they've never really understood Trump. Because if they truly, truly cared about improving the lives of the middle class, by the way, the middle income people who have been pummeled by decades of globalization pushed on us by both parties, well, then they would have made an effort, all these Trump critics, to have sat down with President Trump instead of demonizing him and investigating him.
And then on Fox, they brought on this guest, Palladino, and like her turtleneck, was up to like her forehead. And she was like, Donald Trump was playing 18-dimensional chess right here. You see, let me tell you, he was playing 18-dimensional. Here, play this clip.
Trump played chess. Today was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I am in the city council. I work with DSA council members. And I will tell you this. This guy's got a lot of answering to do when he comes back to New York, because he's got the DSA Linda Sauer types that are going to hold his hands over the fire for taking a meeting with Trump, let alone come out of it buddy-buddy.
Okay, then you have Caroline Levitt. She goes on state regime media and she's like, look, Donald and Mamdani, they were talking about affordability. And look how great Donald Trump's Look how great he's been with the economy so far. Here, play this clip.
And if you look at what President Trump has already done with respect to the economy, there was a lot of talk on the issue of cost of living because it continues to be a concern for voters. And President Trump is very well aware of that. But look at what he's done thus far. It's a proven economic formula that is working.
Okay. He's been so good with the economy that state regime media needs to run segments telling people that the only protein that they should be eating is turkey, and saying that you shouldn't get your grandma or your parents any gifts for the holidays because people can't afford anything. Just by the way, before the meeting between Mamdani and Donald Trump, Fox had to show a clip of all of these like young people who worked at the White House who were giving Mamdani a rock star welcome. All of the younger interns and workers at the White House were so excited to see Mamdani. Here, play this clip.
Any minute now. It was supposed to be at 3 o'clock, and we are right there. You see the huge group that is gathered on the White House complex, everybody waiting for the arrival of New York City's Democratic Socialist Mayor-elect, Zohran Mamdani.
We're now going to other aspects of what was going down on state regime media. You know, they got to make some distraction. So they had MAGA Republican Congresswoman Hinson on, Ashley Hinson, and she talks about China hacking into baby monitors and that the Chinese government's listening to your baby. Here, play this clip.
And then just from my perspective as a mom, I think about, watching baby monitor. That's a very intimate moment with you and your baby at home. And to think that the Chinese could be spying on your morning routine or what's going on with your family, it is certainly very, very concerning.
Why? Why are they spying on moms?
Yeah, it comes down to they just want to know what Americans are up to so that they can continue to undermine our way of life, our value system. It's all about the competitive nature, right? They understand us better than they, you talk about that surveillance state. It's alive and well in China. They want that here as well.
Cozy Earth's pajamas and blankets are so soft, so breathable, and so cute you'll start planning your evenings around them. I've got their bamboo stretch knit pajamas, and let me tell you, the first time I slipped them on, I could not believe how light and cool they felt. They've got this luxurious drape, and they honestly sleep degrees cooler than cotton. I used to just throw on whatever for bed, but now this has become my cozy all-day set. It is that good. And the bubble cuddle blanket, wow. Mine lives on the couch, and it's basically my go-to for everything. Reading, binging shows, or quick naps. The textured bubble design looks amazing, but what gets me is the softness. It just makes lounging feel elevated. And just so you know, Cozy Earth stands by their quality. Their blankets come with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. And their apparel, it's backed by a lifetime guarantee. So yeah, they mean it when they say it's made to last. Go to CozyEarth.com and use code Meidas at checkout for up to 40% off your new favorite pajama set and blanket. That's CozyEarth.com, code Meidas, M-E-I-D-A-S. And if you get a post-purchase survey, let them know you heard about Cozy Earth right here. Elevate your downtime with Cozy Earth.
And then Congresswoman Hinson is like, we need this bailout for the farmers, socialism for farmers. Donald Trump's been so great to the farmers that they need a bailout or else they're all going to go bankrupt. Here, play this clip.
So the next thing is understanding that food does not just come from the grocery store. It grows in fields like those in Iowa and around the country. So I'm pleased to hear that the administration acknowledges the struggles that our farmers are facing and will be focused on this bridge, right? We need this bridge, these payments to go out to our folks so they can continue to operate and feed and fuel the world. But we need to focus on those trade deals. And I know the president's team is obviously zeroed in on that with China specifically, but other people around the world as well.
And also, on a very deeply serious note, we learned that Keith Kellogg, one of the special envoys to Ukraine, who was actually a serious guy before joining the Trump regime, he's resigning, or he was forced to quit. This is at the same time that the Trump regime demanded that Ukraine surrender basically all of eastern Ukraine to Russia and also give up its army and also give up any prospects of being in NATO so that Russia could destroy Ukraine. Ukraine and Europe joined and rejected the surrender demand by Donald Trump. but just take a listen to what Fox talks about with Keith Kellogg resigning. Here, play this clip.
Brett, we're also learning tonight, I've just confirmed that General Keith Kellogg, the president's special envoy for peace in Ukraine, is going to be stepping down from his position at the end of the year. He will have served 360 days, the congressionally allowed time that he can have in that position.
Then Fox brings on Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan goes on the Fox Business Varney show, and they keep on whining about, special counsel Jack Smith's investigation into the January 6th insurrection got phone records, and the phone records showed the digits of Jim Jordan and other MAGA Republicans and these senators are whining now. Let's be very clear. Special counsel Jack Smith did not eavesdrop. He did not wiretap. There were subpoenas that showed phone records of conversations that Trump was having with people regarding the insurrection. Why? Because it was an insurrection to overthrow our democracy, and federal courts authorized it. These weren't like rogue subpoenas, but so what Jim Jordan's doing, he's whining. Here, play this clip.
That is outrageous that for 2.5 years they tapped your phone, and you're the chair of the House Judiciary Committee. That is outrageous. Who's going to pay the price for this?
Well, understand they didn't tap, but they got all the records. They got all your text messages, not the contents, but every time you text someone, someone texts you, every time you call someone, every time they call you, how long the call is, where you're at when you do the call, what time of day you make the call, how frequently they got all that information.
And then you have MAGA Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen endorse the Trump and Putin plan to force Ukraine to surrender to Putin. Notably, in the 28-point plan that the United States demanded that Zelensky agree to, the surrender plan, it basically looks like it was put through Google Translate from the original Russian. And then it looks like literally you have this guy, Kirill Dmitriev, and he worked on it with Steve Witkoff. It just looks like literally Putin typed it out with Dmitriev, and then they translated it into English. Here, play this clip.
Mr. Senator, this deal, my opinion, would be a win for Putin. You happy with that?
Well, I think it's a win for both. Zelensky's looking for a way out. The president's doing everything he can to negotiate a peace deal. If you knew, and Stu, I don't think I can share with you all the details of where we started from with Putin and the negotiations with Zelensky. But I will tell you just one little part, how far we've come back to the center. Is one thing that Russia and Putin was pushing is they wanted all the land that a Russian soldier had stepped foot on, which would have been absolutely ridiculous. And so we're pushing back. We always knew we were going to lose part of Donbass. We understood that. Zelensky, I don't think, wanted that at all. In fact, I know he didn't want it. We had conversations about that. Kyiv was never going to be able to be put back into Ukraine, and a lot of times, if you talk to the people of Kyiv, or not Kyiv, but my mind just let me. Crimea. If you talk to people in Crimea, they kind of see themselves more as Russia anyways.
All of this is going on. You've got MAGA Republican Congresswoman Salazar say the GOP is the morally sound party here. We're the morally sound party. Okay, really the morally sound party that's sending ICE agents to round up people and throw them into concentration camps? The morally sound party that endorsed the Coast Guard removing the swastika and the noose and the Confederate flag as hate symbols? You're the morally sound party that's literally preventing kids from getting an education. You're ripping away healthcare for over 20 million Americans. You took away SNAP benefits from people. We have the longest food bank lines in any recent history right now. But okay, the moral authority. They think we're so stupid. Here, play this clip.
Which you introduced. Is that socialism, what he just talked about? Is he still avoiding it?
Of course not. You know, they don't have the moral high ground. The conservatives, the GOP, is also a morally sound party. The problem with the Dems is that they have been infiltrated, and I understand that Hakeem Jeffries cannot recognize it, but the Democratic Party has been infiltrated by an ideology that is completely foreign to the American values, the Judeo-Christian values. And that's why we're putting this resolution on the floor today.
Then going to Hannity. Hannity was struggling with the Mamdani visit. Here's what they said on Hannity. Play this clip.
In other words, Mamdani would like the government to seize billions in, quote, equity, because it's not fair right now in stocks and cash, I don't know, from billionaires on Wall Street, people like Elon Musk, because in his view, the government can spend Elon's money much better. And when he gets that money and he gives people free stuff, he thinks the odds are much higher that they're going to keep him in power instead of, investing in cutting edge technology, SpaceX, Starlink, Neuralink, maybe to help the blind see and people with spinal cord injuries walk.
Wild stuff going on state regime media. Tell me what you think. Oh, I'll show you this one too. Then Jim Jordan had to admit that it actually wasn't a wiretap. Here, play this clip.
That's outrageous. Do you know why they tapped your phone, Jim?
Well, it's interesting. It's part of this Arctic Frost investigation, but they went all the way back to January of 2020. I mean, that was a year before January 6th. That was a year before the election, for goodness sake. But for 2.5 years, Stuart, we knew they spied on President Trump. We had learned here in the last several weeks that it was, senators and some other members. But this was for 2.5 years. Every call you make, who you call, who calls you, how long the call lasts, where you're at when you make the call. For 2.5 years.
There you have it. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. And thank you so much for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.